What's the funny one? Dan Rather. 7 Saudi
so
soldiers sodomized in several of Shaddam's southern
and then he just starts
settlements
whistling.
quarters.
That's the best way.
And then a producer comes over and like tips him back.
Yeah, and he just starts whistling. Tip his mouth up.
Southern settlements quarters.
McFarland's phenomenal.
This is what I'm
Kind of want to watch the rest of this Pittsburgh game because the Hubbard Fantasy Football League comes down to Antonio Brown having an epic finish to this. And he has 2 touchdowns, 15 catches, and 181 yards.
So
I think that
like
qualifies.
You're doing all right.
Is that for you?
If it is Christmas season here, gentlemen, if Santa Claus could come down the chimney at Winter Park and give the Vikings one gift for this holiday season, what should the Vikings be asking for, and what would Santa be giving the Vikings after he waddles down the chimney?
It's very uncomfortable right now. Go ahead, Andrew.
What would he give him? A right tackle? Oh, I don't know. That's a good question, I guess.
Would a right tackle fit down? Like, Santa's big, but would a right tackle fit down the chimney?
Not if you had him in the bag while you were trying to go down. Probably not. It also might be illegal to carry him in the bag.
Carry a
Santa
human
can
in a
get down
bag.
the chimney.
Yeah.
You could probably get the right tackle down
You
there,
might
right?
be able to. You might be able to.
He'd lose some weight, and then you get him fat once he got in the cafeteria.
Yeah, I would say a right tackle, I think.
I'd say the gift of health. What about the gift of health? Harrison Smith gets healthy. Anthony Barr gets healthy. Linval Joseph. Adrian Peterson's ankle doesn't swell up like a balloon tomorrow.
Is that like an actual thing, or is that
It's a
just
gift.
like...
The gift.
Yeah.
Is that just like end world hunger?
He left it open-ended.
It's not like a real
I
thing.
said the gift of health.
See, I feel like it's
Get you
hard to
guys
put
healthy.
that in a bag, though, or I guess you'd call it a sash, right?
Fit in like a...
Well, no, but you could bring back a healthy Barr, Smith, and Joseph, couldn't
So
you?
is he bringing down like a new hand, a new groin?
Yeah, exactly. No, he's chopping off.
Santa's bringing a new groin down the
He's
chimney.
chopping off
Anthony
Sharif
Barr.
Floyd's toe. He's like, Sharif, we're going to take you up on your offer. Give me your toe, and he's putting it on Linval Joseph.
That's what he's doing.
That's
yes.
what it is.
He's taking body parts from teams that are out of contention right now, and he's basically it's a new Bravo show. It's like Transplant Santa.
Fred Evans, you're retired. You don't need that toe anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Give it to Linval.
We'll take your toe. It's like the $6 million man.
Yeah. You know, Judd and I were off the game today. Judd and I were emailing back and forth about show topics, and the one thing that came to my mind, I'm watching, like Jay Cutler does this all the time, but it occurred to me, no quarterback in the NFL has mastered the disgruntled, but then like 5 seconds later, I'm just sort of over this and don't care anymore face better than Jay Cutler. I just epically screwed up and I'm going to pout and maybe stare at an offensive lineman, but now I'm kind of over it and I'm just going to sit on the bench alone in my big jacket face.
Kind of like the boyfriend is just dumped or whatever, and he's like, I didn't need her, whatever, I'm fine.
Well, actually, though,
We're
I said when Cutler went in and threw that pick that got picked at the line, he looked to me to be the happiest guy on the field. It's like,
I think
I'm done with this series.
I think
Chill for a while.
Series is over.
I think you joked in the press box Alshon Jeffrey should have been doubtful to return because he was in Terminal 2
Yeah,
waiting
at
for
the
his
airport.
flight to get
At
out.
the airport, he's like, peace out, guys. I'm going to Humphrey. I'm
thanks.
flying home from Humphrey.
Better to travel now because, later in the day, the airport gets a little
Dave
more
Mono over the
crowded.
press box, he might be able to come back if they can get him from the Terminal 2.
Can you guys?
But Uber pricing skyrockets around the 4 o'clock hour, so he's trying
He'll
to
pay it.
He's trying to, yeah.
He'll pay it. But can you guys think of a worse sport to have your team basically have no hope than football? Baseball, you could just sort of conveniently play out the string and not care, and it's not a big
Like
deal,
for
right?
fans or players?
No, I'm saying for players.
For players,
if you're on
yeah.
a team like the Bears and you're going nowhere and it's December, I mean, you could tell their tackling today to me was indicative of, okay, we're done.
A lot of business decisions being made.
Exactly.
out there on the field, yeah.
Absolutely. I noticed that as well.
I almost can't blame them because do you really want to get hurt? I mean, unless
Yeah.
you're playing for a job for next season, I'm thinking to myself, if I'm an established veteran, okay, I'm done. So do I really want to, Peterson 28's coming at me head on. I'm moving.
Gonna kind of flail at his legs.
Yeah, you
land at his feet.
You make it convenient.
And really, I mean, and this is, as a guy, I quit football in 8th grade because they made us run too much during, junior high practice. And so this is my football background coming to the surface right now. If my team is 5-9 on the verge of it and not going anywhere, and I have a chance to maybe extend my career by not jumping in front of Adrian Peterson, which is like jumping in front of a Metro Transit.
A Mack truck, yeah,
Correct.
absolutely.
I can't blame the Bears. To be
No,
honest.
I can't either, too. The reality of the NFL world is that most of those guys, some of those guys, won't even be playing for the Bears next year. And so what are you actually playing for? Not to say that a lot of them weren't actually playing for something, but this is the time of year where business decisions are made, as you said. A lot of those happened on Sunday.
I mean, you're putting it on tape, but you can easily justify the tape when you're talking to the scouts and the GMs and the free agent meetings. Oh, that looks terrible, but that was a business decision.
Yes.
And that's why I'm here with you guys today.
Or I've learned my lesson, right? Like last year, that will never happen again. When I'm a Charger, what I did with the Bears will never happen.
In fact,
You
I
don't have
did
to
that
worry
with the
about
Bears
me.
because I want to be a Charger, and I want.
I knew what you guys needed on defense. Yeah, I could be the next outside linebacker.
Who has turned more of a corner in the last 2 or 3 weeks? Teddy Bridgewater or Norv Turner?
Teddy Bridgewater. And I think they can go hand in hand, though. I don't think they have to be mutually exclusive, but I think Teddy Bridgewater, regardless of what the play is called, he has looked so much more comfortable. He was able to put up passes. That 15-yard fade to Stephon Diggs, that play has been called before. He just hit it this time. Where that ball was perfectly placed. I think Stephon Diggs called it a front pocket pass, where basically could have fit right into a front pocket of a T-shirt. That thing was perfectly placed. I think Teddy Bridgewater, he's thrown for like 500 yards in the last 2 starts, 5 touchdowns total. I think 6 touchdowns, counting the Arizona game. He has looked phenomenal recently, and I think he's doing it against, yes, the Chicago Bears checked out.
Right.
But that Arizona defense is nothing to turn your nose up at, and he put points up on them as well.
Well, and in fairness to him, too, don't forget, Chicago actually had the 2nd-ranked pass defense in the league going into today, so it's not too bad.
Was that like total yardage?
Total yardage given up, yeah.
Okay.
So they're not bad. But I'm with Krammer on this. I think it's Bridgewater. I mean, I think that Norv Turner's done a better job of adjusting his game plan, which is important, but it's still incumbent upon the quarterback to execute that game plan, and he has. And the Diggs pass, to me, was gorgeous because it's the one thing that a few weeks ago on our show, Phil, that we talked about, too, is the premise being if you're going to throw a ball like that, it either gets caught by your receiver or it doesn't get caught. That ball, there was no chance that ball was going to be picked.
And that's why those routes have become so popular in the NFL, because they are kind of low-risk throws, but they're so hard to hit. And for a young quarterback to do that, I think that shows his progress.
His comfort, though, in the past 2 weeks, to me, is a huge step because, you know, the Seattle game was awful, but I'll say this. Against Seattle, the entire Vikings offense was awful. There were games before that from Teddy that I thought you just didn't see consistency. And now there's a consistency and confidence these last 2 games that has been impressive. We got so hung up on talking about that last offensive play against the Cardinals that I think we forgot, big picture-wise, this was an impressive performance.
And they took something from that. And I think to your point about Norv Turner and him actually turning on corner as well, I think they found something that worked in Arizona, which is quicker throws, getting the ball out, less of the 7-step drops. We actually saw Adrian Peterson today take handoffs out of the shotgun. I don't think we've seen that in quite a while. They're starting to maybe incorporate some of those things together now, where it's not just solely one thing or another. They're starting to mix those things together.
Hallelujah.
Pa-ra-pa-pum-pum.
Oh, we're bringing it to this, huh?
He
Do you want to sing
throws
some more?
to Stephon Diggs.
Where's Harrigan?
We'll say that. We'll say
Where's
that.
Harrigan? You can't do this without Harrigan.
Check out more songs
Lennon
on the U-Log
McCartney.
on the
Lennon
Mackey and Judd
McCartney,
show
they can't do it
page.
alone.
What's the best Christmas gift you guys have ever received, aside from a new groin or like a right? I don't know if anyone ever brought you a right tackle for
I've gotten a few
Christmas.
good
That'd be
ones.
weird.
I think it was when I was, well, how old was I? I started to like sports. It's probably 8 years old or so.
In the womb.
And it was what? No, because I didn't like. I was bored by sports until I was like 8 years old. Because I remember when I was 5, my mom and I took my grandma won tickets through a grocery store to a Twins game. It was in '75, and we took my grandma and my sister to the game and dropped them off. And I told my mom, "This looks so boring." And I was 5 at the time.
So what were you
3
into
years after
from
the
between
fact.
like age 5
I
to
told you
8?
before, Star Wars. I love the first Star Wars. I don't know what I was into. Going out and throwing dirt balls and stuff. So I started to like sports, and I want to say in about 78 or so, it's one of those deals. This is the greatest gift thing of all time. You know, you blow through your presents below the tree, right? And so you're done. And they're awesome presents, but you're done. And then your parents go, oh, there's one more thing.
Yeah.
And in my grandma's closet.
It's good parenting. Always leave the one.
A goalie stick. And they brought out a goalie stick, which I wanted a goalie stick desperately because I was a great street hockey goalie. I was Trediak in goal. And so that's one that stands out to me to this day as a great.
Is there a disappointment factor in your family that like they were grooming you to be a goalie at age 8, and now you just you criticize goalies for 4 hours a day?
I told them I was Trediak, and I was wrong because the only problem is I would have been so great if I didn't have to wear skates. Because before I wore street hockey on Friday nights, unbelievable.
Yeah,
in my buddy's front yard or
the whole
backyard.
skates thing. I mean, you don't have to be a great skater to be a goalie. You just have to be able to stand up and.
I couldn't do it though. I just couldn't. I wasn't good on skates.
You couldn't stand there, though?
Well, I could stand. Yeah, I could. I can skate to this day. I just wasn't very good on skates.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, the street hockey I was good. Okay, What's your
Mine's
favorite?
not as fun of a story, I guess. Mine's just I remember one time when I was a little kid, my parents did the rope-a-dope thing as well, where basically they got me like one present or something, and you see the one thing under the tree for days leading up to it. And
So you thought for
you
the
open
whole
it up
time that you had one present?
Well, yeah, you open it. Well, I did, but it was a big one. You open it up, and it's just this little box. And you're like, "Oh, thanks, Mom." You pull out like the piece of paper or whatever, and it says like, "Go to the garage" or something. And I had like a brand new Labrador puppy or whatever waiting for me. It was like
cool.
an 8-year-old or whatever. But it was this whole thing where it was like, "Yeah, that's all we got you. Sorry." But then it was like obviously a big deal.
You know what you could do?
I love
Like,
dogs.
A
Big
creative
deal to
way
me.
for you, if you ever have little Andrew Kramers running around in a few years, maybe you do the same thing, but inside the little
it's like-
box, it's like poop from the dog.
Wow.
So your kid thinks that they're
But
getting.
you just got crap in a box.
Actually,
But oh, here's the dog that you have now.
what you could do is have a buddy drop poop off on the front doorstep, like the old trick is, light the poop on
Light that on fire.
have your kid put his foot in the poop, and then be like, "Oh, but the thing is,
Oh, I thought
you
my
got the
parents
dog."
were
the
bad.
dog.
I thought my parents were like mean. Wow.
I don't have kids, so I can come up with all these ideas. If anyone wants to use them, go
Literally
ahead.
light a bag of poop on fire and have your kid like stomp it out to figure
If I
out
had
what
a
his
kid, sure, why
gift
not?
is.
It'd be fun.